This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight now, we bring you a discussion on Project Tiger, 50 Golden Years of Tiger Conservation in India. The participants are Mukul Sanwal, environmentalist, and S. Rangabashyam, AIR correspondent.
The Project Tiger initiative has completed 50 years, and the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji led the entire nation in commemorating 50 years of Project Tiger and also released the Tiger Census. Before we start the discussion, let's listen in to the Prime Minister as to what he said on this occasion.
ये हम लोगों के लिए और भी सुखद है कि जिस समय हमने अपनी आजादी के 75 वर्ष पूरे किए हैं, उसी समय दुनिया की करीब 75% टाइगर पॉपुलेशन भारत में ही है। ये भी संयोग है कि भारत में टाइगर रिजर्व भी 75,000 वर्ग किलोमीटर का और बीते 10-12 वर्षों में टाइगर पॉपुलेशन भी 75% बढ़ी है। ये सभी के प्रयासों से संभव हो सका है और इसके लिए मैं पूरे देश को बहुत-बहुत बधाई देता हूं।
Mr. Sanwal, as the Prime Minister himself said, we are commemorating 75 years of independence, and in this particular year, 75% of the world's tiger population is in India. Isn't that heartening?
See, it is not easy to increase the tiger population or even maintain the tiger population, because the tiger is a territorial animal and each male tiger needs something like 80 square kilometers of forest land, and tigers can roam around up to 200 to 300 square kilometers. When we see Southeast Asia, where once we had the Asiatic tiger, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand has something like 10, 15 or even less tigers in their forests. Very soon they might well be extinct, and we might come to a situation where the tigers are seen only in zoos other than in India. Why is this? It is because of our ancient culture, where the tiger was considered as an essential element in the balance with nature. We have also declared the tiger as a national animal, and there is this concerted effort of tiger reserves to maintain and increase the population of the tiger. And the significance of the Prime Minister associating himself with this program cannot be underestimated, because it gives a clear signal not only to the nation but also to the bureaucracy and the ministries that this is an important national activity. I think because of this personal involvement and the commitment to release the numbers of tigers, which is a good monitoring tool, the protection of the tiger will be ensured. And I think that is a major step for our country, because the tiger maintains an ecological balance in the territory. It's like we maintain a certain balance in our home. We keep it clean, we look after the plants and other environmental factors. Similarly, the tiger is unique among the animals which treats its territory as its home, and therefore it keeps a balance of other animals which it preys on and keeps others outside, including local villagers who come there to graze their cattle or otherwise. The tiger is an essential element in maintaining the ecological balance of a certain area, and in this case, it's a vast area. So for our biodiversity, for our national heritage, as well as for our future, the tiger is an indicator species which indicates that yes, we are maintaining the ecological balance. And in our case, it is something like 75,000 square kilometers, as the Prime Minister has pointed out.
Mr. Sanwal, if we were to just take a look at some of the numbers, in the year 2014, there were 2,226 tigers. And in the next 8 years almost, the number has come to 3,167. More than, 40% increase in population within a short span of 8 years. Despite problems like habitat destruction and the man-animal conflict and all these issues, a commendable increase in tiger population by more than 40%. Isn't that a wonderful achievement for the country?
It is a wonderful achievement, because as the tiger population increases, new areas are come under watch. More sightings are there for more tourist activity, and that gives income to the local people. And the most important factor is that once you get into this cycle, the bureaucracy gets into a behavior pattern that they need to look out for tiger deaths. What are the birth rates? What is the habitation of the tiger? Where tigers can be found? In which pocket? Which part of the sanctuary? So they get involved, and that involvement increases the quality of their work. And I think the Prime Minister's personal involvement and his interaction with the field staff, encouraging them, recognizing them, but I think give an impetus to this essential activity of the ground level bureaucracy that they get involved in this. They see it not as something that they have been directed to do, but as something they want to do. And I think that shift is what is really, not only in bureaucracy, in any organization. When the leader gets involved with the field, gives a certain clear direction, then things start improving. Because it is not just a question of numbers or areas, but we need to improve the quality of the habitat so that the numbers keep increasing. And I think that vision of that direction has been given by the Prime Minister. And in the next coming years, we will see this impact.
Mr. Sanwal, the tiger is supposed to be at the top of the food chain, and efforts to conserve the population of tiger will probably have a cascading effect on all the components of the food chain. Can we expect the entire ecosystem with the biodiversity to benefit from the conservation? Means all the other animals and the entire biodiversity would also have expanded by leaps and bounds?
Yes, in that particular area. I'm not saying that in the entire 75,000 square meters of tiger reserves, but in the areas which are the territory of a particular tiger or a family of tigers, maybe 100 square kilometers, it will certainly happen. And as the numbers increase, this territorial pockets also expand. And therefore, a stage will come when more areas will be covered. In more areas, nature will be in balance. And we will see the benefit in terms of biodiversity, in terms of water, in terms of the balance between different kinds of animal species. But I must caution that there will be a certain limit to this. Because tiger population cannot keep on increasing because we are also developing, we are urbanizing, forest areas are limited. So till we reach that balance, and I'm not saying we are anywhere close to that balance, but till we reach that balance, I think we will see a definite change, not only in the forest cover, the animals, but in the forest ecosystem. We have not started monitoring the ecosystem of an area so far, of the tiger reserves. And it is quite likely that we might start doing that also, so that we see the tangible benefits, we come across new species, we come across new biodiversity research elements, and I think this is a step in the right direction because biological diversity is the foundation of our biotechnology industry. So it is not just nature conservation, tourism, and the economic activity of the neighboring forest, but we might see, and I would not be surprised if we come across some elements or some genetic forms in these tiger reserves which give a breakthrough to our biotechnology industry also.
Mr. Sanwal, let's discuss the flip side also. Despite, achievements like these, there has been issues. We often hear about the man-animal conflict, especially in the areas on the peripheries of forests, and also habitat destruction. There have been pressures of land, highways going through forests, and big projects coming up, dams coming up, which leads to habitat destruction. So how do we reconcile to this fact? How do we go ahead? There will always be this conflict between economy and ecology.
That is really a Western construct. The West conquers nature. Our civilizational values are living in harmony with nature. Let me give you an example of Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand. The beginning of the Corbett National Park was the floodplain of a river, which provided a lot of foliage for deer and tiger habitat. Followed. Occasional forest department officers would come on elephant back to check and to shoot a couple of tigers. And very soon a tiger reserve was formed. Then came a dam, Kalagarh Dam. And now we find that the dam and the tiger Corbett National Park are living in harmony with each other. So it is not the existence of the dam, but how the dam was constructed and what happened afterwards. So one should not say that there is a case of environment and development contradiction or conflict. It's really a question of how development takes place, in what manner, so that we recognize the existence of the animals of nature as well as development needs. Now again, take the Rajaji Sanctuary in Uttarakhand. Bridges have been built. The highways are on bridges so that animals can pass underneath. Animals need a corridor to move. Even elephants, corridors have been created. So it's just a question of looking at the kind of development we are doing, how we are doing it, and it has been possible so far. We have enough experience to see that it can be in balance. Yes, the villagers that live in the periphery of these areas are more in contact with the tigers. As I said, generally the tiger is a territorial animal. It is when two tigers fight for a territory, the loser moves out. And it has been noticed that it is the loser who then moves out into the forest, into the non-forest areas, into the neighboring villages in search of another forest patch. And the view has been expressed that there should be corridors to allow them to do so. Now that is leading to conflict, but there again, I think the villagers have realized that they too benefit with the reserve, because at the edge of the reserve they can graze their cattle, at the edge of the reserve, not in the core areas. So we have also modified our notion of tiger reserves into core areas and other areas. In the other areas, some controlled grazing is permitted, some controlled firewood. But most important of all, when the economic development of these people who have been traditionally dependent on the forest increases, they will move out to cities for jobs. They will not venture into forests, so the conflict will come down. I think the way to look at this issue is not a conflict, as the Prime Minister has pointed out, between environment and development, but the way we do development, how peripheral areas develop, and how we manage the tiger population in a way that they can be balanced. And our forest departments, the people manning these reserves, have now enough experience of this. The movement of the tiger, the movement of the people, what kind of development. For example, there is a debate among the foresters that tourism must be controlled. We need the revenue, so let us have high-value tourism and reduce the numbers. Let us not have a large number of jeeps. Let us have some kind of a bus going very slowly inside the forest. So this is a work in progress. We are getting more experience. We are getting more ideas. We are getting richer.
Mr. Sanwal, the Prime Minister also spoke about the International Big Cat Alliance. What all does that envisage?
There have been earlier efforts in the world to bring together the countries where tiger populations were located, and not have been very successful. I think what the Prime Minister has said is that let us not look at individual animals. We had something that all the countries where there are tigers get together, and then people found that 75% of, I would say even 75% of the tigers are located in India. So what was the role of the other countries? What the Prime Minister has said, he has said, let us look at big cats. Let us look at leopards. Let us look at the snow leopard. So when you start changing the framework of the discussion from just one species or one animal to a number of animals, you also change the discussion and you bring new ideas and new countries into this with new experience. Snow leopard population is decreasing in a very rapid rate. They are elusive animals. They live in very remote areas. They live in areas where there is no habitation. There is very little natural wildlife, flora or fauna, and therefore they move along with the snow line for survival. And again, different kind of conflict takes place. So we need to share that experience, that here are big cats who are not living inside remote forests, thick forests, but living in areas which are not that forested and moving around the edge of those areas in search of food and fodder. So I think this insight that let us bring together all countries with these big cats, pool the experience together, share experience, and it might be beneficial for all the big cats. I think this is going to be very popular.
Mr. Sanwal, we are talking about the International Big Cat Alliance and also other big cats as well. In India, cheetahs got extinct 70 years ago, and just last year, the Prime Minister personally again launched and brought back cheetahs and launched them in the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. So that exactly is actually walking the talk, isn't it?
That's right. And you can see the success. There are reports that they are breeding in Kuno. They are being seen in neighboring areas. That means they are getting familiar with Kuno. And our forest bureaucracy is getting experience of their habitat, their habits, and how to encourage them to breed and survive and maintain their population. And I'm sure forest officers who were dealing with tigers have been sent to these places and they are comparing their experience of the two. I think the next step will be looking into the snow leopards. They are fewer in number, more dispersed. But this is how knowledge increases and how international cooperation also takes place. The fact that South Africa agreed to give these cheetahs is a very major step. We should agree to tigers being relocated in Southeast Asia, which I'm sure the Prime Minister is thinking of. Kumo was a step where we took something from someone. Maybe we will look at Southeast Asia and give them some tigers. Yeah. Give them the expertise.
Mr. Sanwal, let's hope that in times to come, the population of not only the tiger but all the big cats increases by leaps and bounds. Thank you so much for joining us in this discussion.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Project Tiger, 50 Golden Years of Tiger Conservation in India. The participants were Mukul Sanwal, environmentalist, and S. Rangabashyam, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9288094044.